Hi, I'm Heather Horton, and this is my video reflection number 2 from discussion number 2 about speech disorders. For me personally, I truly did not start paying attention to how children spoke until I had a child that was in my resource that I serviced that was a very drastic communication need. Also didn't really become aware of how children spoke in their developmental age appropriate language until I became a mom myself. When I became a mom and I tried to make sure, I guess it was the teacher in me, tried to make sure that my child was speaking at an appropriate age, developmental range. I would talk to her, I would communicate her, I would ask questions, I would show her what the correct response would be. And then I noticed it. Maybe I have a friend of mine that's child is a bit older than my daughter, and my 1 year old's saying very many very clearly spoken words, and her child, who was older than my child by a year, was not saying very many words, very few words, and the ones that she said, they were hard to understand. I also had another friend that her daughter is a bit younger than my child. She's almost 2, and once again, according after doing the reading from chapters 5 and 6, I've noticed that this child is not developmentally appropriate where her language should be compared to what the book says she should be. This child does not say any words. The only word that I can recall her saying is maybe dead-eye, and even then it's one of those words that you have to be around her to even understand, to get what she's trying to say. Other than that, this almost 2 year old is not saying very many developmental appropriate words like dog, cat, mom. She's not even saying mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whatever that she calls them. It's just not developmentally appropriate for where she should be. Now, if this parent was to come to me, any parent for that matter, was to come to me and ask me how I felt or what my educational thought would be, I would first off tell them I don't feel comfortable responding to this because I'm not a licensed speech therapist or pathologist. This is my first speech communication class that I have ever taken. Um, Now, do I feel comfortable enough to tell them, okay, based off what I've read and what I've learned at this age, at this many months, this is where this child should be? Yes. I could suggest them to words that they could practice on at home or how they could help, to see if there's anything that they could do at home. And then if the language concerns or speech concerns continue, I would then suggest them seek help from their pediatrician who could base their knowledge more, which I'm sure they have more knowledge on this than I could ever experience. Base their knowledge on what they know and how they've watched children grow over the years, whether that this person should seek outside help from a speech therapist. Um, if they would ask, I wouldn't mind showing them, but I wouldn't seek that. That would be something that they would have to come to me for because I'm not fixing to criticize them as parents or feel like I'm criticizing them. I don't want them to feel like they're doing something wrong because I wouldn't want that done to me. But if they ask, I would most definitely tell them what I thought. Um, for chapters 5 and 6, I do believe that there are developmental stages that a child should be meeting according to their age. There are many children that don't meet them and do require therapists and pathologists and service times on IEPs. And I have been shocked to find children that you would not even think need speech therapist. But it's more sometimes about how they communicate to you in formed sentences rather than how it's coming out of their mouth, the words specifically. Rather than it being jumbled words or not properly pronounced, it could be how they're forming the sentences, and rather than communicating with more than one word answers. Um, After reading this, I do see the differences, and I have brought a new light to how it should look by age appropriate. Um, Thank you for listening to my video about reflection number 2.